Welcome back to the Martinez Report. It's me, JP, and today we'll be reacting to a brand new Jubilee episode titled One Capitalist versus 20 Anti-Capitalists featuring Patrick Bet David. Let's get into it.
Patrick Bet David, I'm an entrepreneur and founder of PBD Podcast. Today I'm surrounded by 20 anti-capitalists. My first claim is incentive is the engine of capitalism. Remove it and the system fails. Luke?
Yes.
Like
Luke.
the hat. Good to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much. Good to meet you.
I like it too.
I think incentives are exactly the fundamental problem with capitalism. That you say incentives are what make it work, and I think that's the whole issue. Is that the primary incentives are either greed.
Would you call it greed, or would you call it, somebody starting a business, a for-profit business, trying to make money to feed their families or, feed their loved ones and, have a good life? I don't, how is that greed? Although I do see this going the direction of him blaming and giving examples of people who exploit, their workers, stuff like that, which is a valid point, but it doesn't, it's not really part of the, an incentive. He's talking about incentives in business. It is a good thing for your incentive to make money, because that's what's going to drive you. If you don't want to make money, your business is probably going to fail unless it's like a for-profit. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about capitalism.
The person working 5 jobs, that they're doing that because they wouldn't want to do that if they didn't need to survive. But that's such a horrible dystopian world to live in. Someone has to work 5 jobs just to survive.
How did they get there? How much?
Who has to work 5 jobs to survive? I that seems very unrealistic. I get 2 jobs, maximum 3 jobs, but 5 jobs. How would you even have time to do that? Does he work 5 jobs? If he did, his opinion would have more credence. But I just don't think that he looks like basement dwellers.
No. See, we want to create a world in which people don't have to earn their right to exist, to live.
We live in a country where majority of the world wants to come here. The most important citizenship country is America.
Right.
People give up their lives to come here. Have you ever lived in another country before?
No, not lived, no.
Why do you think so many want to come here?
I think the people coming here are coming from gang-ridden, corruption-ridden, violence-ridden...
You think that's just all it is? You think I came from a gang-ridden in Iran? I lived there 11 years.
I think the majority of... Certainly coming from South America.
Most people come here because what you're doing to me... You're sitting across from me right now.
Right.
Millions of people are going to watch this. In America, you can call me out. You can say whatever you want.
Right.
Nothing's going to happen.
Right.
You're free and safe here,
sure.
right?
Freedom of speech is
You can't do that in Iran. Of course it is. There's a lot of elements with America. You're talking incentive. The amount of benefits America offers against other countries, it's so much higher. But to say the individual that's working 3 to 5 jobs, if you do that for a season, if you do that for 2 years, if you do that for 5 years, fine. If you do that for 20, 30 years, you're doing something wrong.
Then exactly. If you find yourself in that cycle for the rest of your life, then unfortunately, I'm sorry, but that is your choice for not, innovating yourself and doing something, maybe starting your own business. It shouldn't be that way. And it's really cool to me because Patrick Bet David, he just said he immigrated here when he was around 11 from Iran. And I don't really know his upbringing, but I could only assume that he didn't come from a huge wealthy family, but was able to immigrate to America and build a huge media empire. And I believe his net worth is like over 400 million. So, yeah, he really did something out of that. And that's great.
Pursuit of happiness, right? Inalienable rights. We shouldn't have to earn those rights. We shouldn't have to earn the right to health care. Earn the right. No. This is just, we just want to live.
It's not the real world. He has this, socialist mindset where he wants free handouts to everyone and everyone to be in the exact same level, without earning it or anything. It sounds like communism to me.
We can't work our blood, sweat, and tears just to survive. That's a horrible dystopian world.
He doesn't look to me like somebody who's ever worked a day in their life in like a job that requires any labor. So I don't know what he's wilding about. So I don't know what he's like going on about.
That we live in right now.
Then what do you think we're here for? To just sit around and play video games?
We're
What do you
here-
think we're here for? To sit around and watch TV shows?
We're here
to sit and watch cat videos?
We are
What do you think
here.
we're put here
We
to
are
do?
here to create a prosperous community to lift
How do you
everyone
create a
up.
prosperous community? How do you create a prosperous community? Matter of fact, for you, how have you positively impacted a community?
I guess volunteering, food banks,
Volunteer
Habitat for
food. I
Humanity.
appreciate you for doing that. Have you created jobs for others?
Created jobs? No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say
Why
so.
have you not?
I haven't had the ability to do so.
Do you
Exactly. When a big company makes a factory, like let's say Amazon makes a factory, which happened actually near me in Long Island City, New York, thousands of jobs were created. That is only a benefit. You know, maybe they may not be treated the best, but from what I hear, they get a good salary, they get good money, good benefits. So, you know, Amazon coming here to Long Island City created thousands of jobs. That is not bad for, you know, the society, the neighborhood, the town. It's quite literally very, very good for that. For the people that live there. So he's not making a good point. Patrick Bet-David, he's winning right now for sure.
it's easy or do you think it's hard?
To create jobs is probably hard, yeah.
It's okay. So the people that
Probably.
do you think they should have a little bit of incentive for having risked their life savings, spend time away their families to create jobs so somebody like you can work for that company?
Sure, but that does not.
the incentive.
And bravo for them, but then
Exactly. Patrick Bet-David is making a really good point. Like for this guy Luke to have volunteered and, you know, work in food banks that are, you know, most likely nonprofit organizations, he didn't start them. Somebody else made an investment, you know, most likely raised money, spent his own money to create that nonprofit organization so that this guy can, you know, he didn't get paid for his volunteer work, but was able to help his community through somebody that made that investment, that risk, that sacrifice, you know, how many years ago. So this guy benefited off of somebody sacrificing themselves, having the incentive of not money, but create a nonprofit, which I'm sure, you know, he makes some money out of it because he has to make a living. So this guy is proving his own point wrong.
to right to pay themselves $2 million bonuses
You
while
don't-
their
you- but you-
their workers are
but you don't-
scraping
you
by
don't-
at
you
like
don't-
$10 an
Yeah.
hour.
You don't get to
Again, he's using like the vast minority of the example where somebody makes $1 million a year. Like how many companies, you know, you see every day in your local shop, they don't make $1 million a year, but they're trying to make money because they're trying to feed their families. That doesn't make them some evil capitalist, you know, monster. It doesn't. That was fun. Okay, is that Xena?
What's your name?
Xena, yeah, I recognize her from past debates.
Incentive is one that we see often promoted by capitalism enjoyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's this idea that, you know, profit incentives is the only thing that can make humans do things, get up out of bed every day, which has never been the case. Historically, it's not.
No, for most people, that is the case. You know, you go out there, like if the incentive wasn't to make money for you or the people you love, why would somebody wake up at 4 a.m. to go, you know, work in like, you know, Target or something? You know, you do it because, you know, at the end of the week, you're going to get that paycheck. I mean, ask anybody. That's why they do it. They don't do it because they like it. In a best case scenario, you have good coworkers, but for the most part, you go to your job and your main incentive is, you know, that at the end of the week, you're going to get that big check. That's why you do it. So what is she on about? Does she have a different incentive? That's how society works, and that's how it's always going to work, you know?
Case psychologically.
Historically, it's never been the case?
No.
What has been the case?
So we've seen
What's been the incentive?
the incentive is intrinsic motivation, passion.
Intrinsic motivation?
It's very... Okay, so she lives in like a fantasy world where, according to her, everybody, you know, has their dream job and they were able to make it. And, you know, if you wanted to YouTube, if you wanted to, like, you know, be like a model or something, that they were able to make it to their dream job. But no, because for everybody else, 90% of the population, they weren't able to make their dream job, you know, yet. Maybe in the future, you know, God willing, they can. But for now, they're going to Target, working at Walmart because they want that check. And, you know, hopefully in the future, they're able to, you know, build themselves up to have their dream job where their main incentive can be their passion, you know, being a painter or something. But that's like, if you're very lucky, you know, and it's impossible to make a society where everyone has their dream job, because, you know, there's certain jobs that maybe isn't someone's dream job, but we need somebody to make it because it's vital for society to work. We need somebody to do the hard jobs that maybe somebody doesn't want to do, but they have to make money, and they do make money. They make good money for that. A lot of trade jobs, people make really good money, and that might not be their passion, but it's necessary for society. So her, situation where everybody doesn't get paid money but gets paid, or at least their main incentive to get paid is not with, dollars, but instead with, their passion being, fulfilled. And that's very dumb. That's very dumb. I'm sure many people, there's people, who make it big, who, they're doing their passion, maybe playing sports, and, maybe money is like a secondary thing. But I don't think they started out with the idea that hey, I'm not going to care about money, because everybody likes money. Who doesn't want to live a good life? Maybe she doesn't. I'd be interested to see what she does. Maybe she's like a painter that makes no money, but she's following her passion. But I really doubt that the idea that the main incentive for, capitalism, creating business, working, going out every day to do your job is not money is just false.
Well, the problem is that we're forcing people to, need to, work to survive.
So what's the alternative? So give me another solution, another
may I
economical
finish
system.
talking?
Yeah, actually,
Right,
I'm
awesome.
curious.
So yeah, the psychological theory of self-determination is widely accepted in psychology. It basically explains that intrinsic motivation and passion is actually what predicts incentive. You're arguing that incentive is integral to profit-driven motivation. That's not true. Extrinsic motivation, at all times, at every single case, is going to, predict less creativity, less motivation, less skill, etc. Intrinsic motivation is what causes things like technological development. Some of the greatest breakthroughs have been from people who are devoted in honing their skill.
So should they get paid for it?
I think that we shouldn't live in a system that
This is dumb, because every time we talk about the topic brings up like one of the greatest painters or inventors, Da Vinci. Everybody always brings up the idea that, yeah, it was his passion, he was very good at it, but he made no money. And so everybody is always like, oh, it's very sad that after he died, Da Vinci's paintings were sold for thousands and maybe millions of dollars. So, that's everyone's mindset, and it makes sense. If Da Vinci was born today, I would love for him to get paid. Nobody would want to have Da Vinci and for him not to get paid because he's doing his passion. Like, it's contradictory. You need money to be able to do your passion. If you want to, buy cars, if you want to, do paintings, if you want to, sew, you need money to do that. Who's going to give you the fabric? Are you going to have like a sponsor? Maybe you have like rich parents, maybe, but for most people, that's not the case. Yeah, like, she's not making any sense. She's kind of, I respect her for bringing in big words, trying to sound fancy, but her point is that she wants to live in a society where everybody just getting like, I guess there's like a rich billionaire that's just like sponsoring like 50 artists around the country to live their passion. But that's just never gonna happen, because if you make your money, it's okay for you to, have the money that you made.
owns the means of production and forces people in this position.
What college did you go to?
USC.
You went to USC. What did you major in?
Ooh, and that tuition is very expensive. And you know who probably paid for that? Her parents. Because with this mindset, she probably didn't work a day in her life. And also, like, come on. I have a point I want to make. Like, this whole passion thing. Sure, let's say everybody in society did their passion. Like, worked for passion and didn't get paid. Who is going to work at Target because it's their passion? I'll tell you who. Nobody.
Sociology. Who's your hero as a professor? Who's the professor you look
This
up
doesn't
to?
seem like a topic
Do you know
that's
why I
related
asked
to
this
gap.
question? The reason why I asked this question is because somebody convinced you of that.
I don't
Somebody
think it's
convinced you that that
So
is the way
psychology
that
and studies
produces-
convinced me of this fact
Yeah,
about the
but
human mind.
unfortunately, to your claim,
Yeah, because you're crazy.
results show that the greatest
Results show
economical
that
system
intrinsic
is
motivation predicts more
capitalism
creativity
that allows
and more
people to go
profit
above and
than
beyond
anything
and
like
solve
Yes, it does, when you have the blessing to have that opportunity. And you know what's cool, Zena, is that people work for, let's say, 40 years until maybe they retire. They save up a lot of money. They get, their pension, so that when they're older and when they have worked and maybe their kids are helping them out, they can do their passion. Because not everybody is born to rich parents where they can do their passion when they're like 12 years old. And that's okay, because that's the point of life. You work hard so you can reap the benefits later on. This idea that she wants to build a society where everybody just has everything at birth, that's going to produce a lot of lazy people. And sure, maybe there's going to be some people like, the new Da Vinci's, and that's great. But what about the rest of the people that have no incentive to go out there and make something out of their lives because they have everything handed to them in a platter? That is not going to bring a good society, and she should know that.
Single issue out there. An entrepreneur who gets up, who says,
What was your
I'm
claim
gonna
again,
be-
mister?
I'm going to incentive. The
Incentive. What about
entrepreneur who has an incentive to go out there and build their lives.
Why is she so bratty? I don't remember her being this bratty when she debated Jordan Peterson. 'Cause she was kind of respectful there. I guess now she really has a nick to, to, I guess she's really annoyed by Patrick Bet-David. But, like, he didn't do anything to her. I don't even know who she is. Well, I do, but she's, yeah, she's very rude today. I don't know why.
My next claim is capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other system.
And that's just true. Like, come on, of course, even with the idea that they brought before, you bring a business to a small town and it's a big business, suddenly that town has 300 extra jobs and it's probably a better job than what they were working at, at like the local deli, So yeah, of course it can bring someone out of poverty and they can, God willing, climb the ladder, go higher, get a better position at the company. And suddenly they're not out of poverty and they're much better off than if they would have stayed at that small town deli, mom and pop shop for like 50 years. Okay.
How are you?
Her card fell.
Grace.
Your no
Yes,
card
Grace.
fell.
Hi. I want to say that I think it's pretty comical that an elite such as yourself has the gall to tell us average Americans who's in poverty and who's not. A lot of
I
times,
was an average American.
You're
I
not
was a guy
anymore.
that was in poverty.
You're not anymore.
And you can also
you're
change. You can also change.
Anyways,
Do you believe
you're
you can
talking
change?
down. A lot of times.
No,
that,
see, this is very important what he asked her. Does she believe in herself that she can make something out of herself and out of her life? And she doesn't believe. That's really sad with this whole socialism argument, is that these people believe that they're inherently different than the people that make it. And that's really sad because that gives them no drive, no incentive to actually go there, start a business, try to, build the ladder of their corporation. And that's really sad because they don't believe in themselves and they believe that whatever they do in their life, they'll never succeed and there will always be a failure. And that's why they have to rely on the government. And that's really, really sad.
I've noticed that you like to do that. You like to skirt from America and talk about other countries
I've been
to try
saying
to make it look
multiple
like
times,
we're better, but we're
America's
actually
the
getting
greatest
worse.
country in the world.
Anyways, it's the greatest country.
Hands down, it's not
We
even
are at the
close.
highest that we've ever been with homelessness since we started
Why
collecting
is
data.
that? Ask you, are you from
Because
California?
we haven't had a pay
Are you
raise
from-
since.
Yeah, ask Gavin Newsom. I was literally going to say that. But no, she's going to blame Donald Trump, who came into office earlier this year. Not Gavin Newsom, who's been the governor for several years now. Anyways.
2009.
Do you live
Our
here?
minimum wage nationally is $7.25.
Okay.
And you wonder why we have the highest poverty rate. You think that capitalism's winning? Can you survive? Would you like to live off $7.25
I
an
used to
hour?
work for $4.25 at Haagen-Dazs.
Right.
Then I
and that
went
was a
and
very
worked
different
at
time.
Burger King for $4.75.
She called him
Then
old.
I make millions today. Then I
Right, and
worked
that's
at
why
Bob's
you like
Big Boy.
capitalism, because we're not
No,
all
but-
making
but
that.
the- but
And
the
that's my
difference
point.
is- but
A
the difference
millionaire is
between-
critiquing
the-
people in
no, the
poverty
difference-
Okay, well, she's not in poverty, and she apparently gave up on herself, and she will never get out of this mindset that she can't make it. So she's never gonna, try to, and that's really sad.
People like you want to keep telling us
But
you
yeah,
can be
the
just like
difference-
me. Do you want to
yeah.
be like me? If you work hard enough,
I'm not
you
saying
can be
that.
like me. It's not very realistic.
It's actually you wouldn't be able to be like me because
You're
you wouldn't
talking
work that
down to
hard.
people like
Would you
us.
work that hard?
You don't.
Would
I'm not gonna tell you. I have
Would-
to answer
would
that.
you-
No, she
if you
wouldn't.
I don't have
choose
to measure my I don't have to measure my work ethic to be worthy.
Not because you don't have one.
Then you can't be upset for others who do so. You
I
can't
can't
be upset.
for people who are
No,
struggling.
because they work
and that's
harder
what's wrong
than
with
you.
capitalism, because
But
you
go back
think
to the
that you have
homelessness.
to work so hard.
No, you see, I don't want to get up in the morning. I don't want to open a car wash business. So I'm going to look at my neighbor who did get up in the morning and opened a car wash business and think that he shouldn't have it. You know why? Because I didn't have the desire to do so. That's such a stupid argument.
In the state of California.
I do.
Okay, you said homelessness.
Yes.
What do you think about your governor Newsom? What do you think about him?
I don't like him. I'm a
Okay.
progressive. He doesn't do enough for the people.
Do you
He doesn't-
He takes corporate money.
Fantastic.
He doesn't do enough. It's funny.
You're
My
starting the question. You're not willing.
my dad was a cashier in Inglewood at a 99-cent store.
That's
we
great.
had nothing. No, I don't tell you that's great. We had nothing.
Well, I
I'm
know
the
where this
guy
is
that
going.
had I'm the guy that had a
The
I'm the-
propaganda that you
but
guys,
what
but
you
you
don't
can be like
what
me.
what you don't want to hear is
Under
that because it's the
capitalism,
truth.
but it is the truth. It's his real life story. And what's her story? She was probably better off than he was, and look what's happened to her. She didn't do anything with her life. That's really sad. Like, it's frustrating because they want to impede their mentality that, you know, you will never make something out of yourself to everyone else. And like, you know, if she has kids, she's gonna teach her kids that. And then you have Patrick Bet David out here saying, I came from nothing and became a multimillionaire. That's a much, like, undebatably, undoubtedly, whatever you think, that's a much better way to raise someone than to tell them that they're never, ever gonna make something out of themselves. So, you know, I guess you choose your side.
I'll be like you.
When's the last time you read a business book? When's the last time you read a self-help book?
I don't need to answer that.
When's the last time you read a
I
self-help
wrote
book?
Never.
a self-help book.
Tell
I'm
me
a
about-
writer, I'm a creative.
Tell me what
and I
self-help
also,
book you read.
I'm not,
Give
I
me
don't
one.
need to.
Give me one you read. Are you willing to take one recommendation?
No.
You're not.
Not for
Then
me.
I can't help you.
See,
Because I don't
exactly.
need your-
Oh, she doesn't need her help. She doesn't need his help, but she wants the help of the government. Oh, yeah. It's a dumb argument. He's offering her advice because he's somebody who did something with his life, and she's saying no. That's such a great analogy for this, because they don't want help from people that have their best interest, but they want the help from the government, who we all know does not have their best interest.
I didn't come here for your
great.
help. I
You've
came
been
here to
flagged
raise you.
out.
Good.
Awesome.
Don't clap her.
My
Third
next point is
claim.
If all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years.
Ah.
What's your name?
Caitlin.
Caitlin.
I've applied to I don't know how many hundreds of jobs. I can show you the receipts. I can show you the email confirmations. Like, I am trying my best to use my values with the freedom that we have
So if
here.
I give you a job, you would work 40 hours a week?
If the job is in alignment with
Oh. So Patrick Bet David, this guy, I forgot his name, was just telling him, it's so hard to find a job. I've been applying to hundreds of places. I had to get government assistance. And Patrick Bet David just told him, would you get a job if I offered him? And now he has like a list of you know, of of things that he needs, his rules, because he's so privileged. Like, yeah, now that long list of requirements, now it makes sense why you don't have a job.
noble and good, I think I could. The issue is, and again, you may say that this is a personal weakness, but like right now, substitute teaching, tutoring, trying to help in that way, is making it so that I'm able to scratch by.
Yeah.
But without the supplemental income and the help from
Not gonna lie, I thought he was homeless. I was like, how did you end up in a Jubilee video? But apparently he's like a teacher. Yeah. Don't teach my kids.
right now, I'm in a position where I have options, like you said. I do have some options, but they seem to be somewhat destructive and exploitative of me, of my peers. So I'm
I
trying
think
to
you're too
discriminate.
selective for jobs right now. You don't have the ability to be selective.
Exactly. Like, this guy has a list of requirements for the job he wants. Like, he wants his dream job, but he's a teacher. It's pretty known that if you want to be very successful, like if you want to be like ultra wealthy, it's kind of impossible to be doing that whilst being a substitute teacher. And you know, he has a bunch of requirements for the job he wants. He's not willing to work for them, but he wants somebody to, you know, hand him a platter with a, hey, here, have a job. But when PBD does it, he literally said no because he has a bunch of requirements. That's wild.
You mentioned earlier in a previous discussion that we have free speech, we can say what we want.
Right.
But the thing is, have you been punched on the train for how you look and how you share your ideas?
Do I look like an American to you? Do you see this nose?
No, I'm just
I'm
asking.
Middle Eastern. You know what's happened?
So dumb. If you want to not get punched in the face, and maybe don't look like a homeless person, cut your hair, you know, shave your facial hair, put a nice t-shirt, put a nice pair of jeans, put a nice pair of shoes. You're not gonna get punched in the train. Oh my god.
Guy,
Like,
you know,
these people want to be dressed like dang Neanderthals / aliens and don't expect people to look at them differently. Like, we don't have to, you know, it's if you want to fit in, look like everybody else. It's not hard, Don't dress like a damn Neanderthal and you won't get stared at. And according to him, I guess he gets pushed around every day, which I doubt happens. But I guess to him, a mean look is as powerful as, being punched in the face because he's that weak.
Happened to me when I was discriminated all over the place.
Feel like that's free speech if you're being
I don't mind
punished
it.
by people who have prejudice against you?
Mind it because I understand there is risk that you may be disrespected. They're like here, I've been disrespected here many times. I've been offended here many times. A lot of you are coming here finding a way to attack me and tell different stories. I'm okay with that. I want them to see that it's okay. People are gonna disagree with you. You have to be comfortable with this.
All the time.
You are with 13-year-olds all the time?
Because of my job. Because I'm a substitute teacher and a tutor. The thing is.
Oh, the way he said it. Oh my gosh, he sounds like a creep.
Apply many different things, and that is your right. But what I'm saying is, right now, I care deeply about having a good experience. The incentive that I feel is for peace and prosperity.
I respect it.
And again,
Okay, well, it's pretty obvious his point. So this guy, he wants to live his dream life. He wants to be super wealthy, but he's not willing to work for it, and that's why he wants the government to give it all to him for free. That's never gonna happen.
Now, but the issue is, you're saying we have all these options, but whenever I tour the globe, I see franchises that have monopolized pretty much everywhere. So when you talk about options, it's really there's these select few.
Wait, he just says he tours the globe, so he travels a lot, and he's acting like he's just scraping by. I mean, he certainly dresses like that, but if he's traveling the world, certainly he has some money.
Who have this infrastructure that's really benefiting them more than others, and without some sort of conscious, spiritual, moral awakening, what can we do except for beg and appeal and amass?
No, you can't be too selective. At
Well,
the
but
beginning,
again,
when I worked at
don't like that
Haagen-Dazs,
word
I couldn't be
can't
too
because you're
selective for a
saying
job.
I can't whenever I can.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, nice.
Appreciate you for being respectful.
Jubilee gets the craziest people. Where did they find this guy? Oh my gosh.
I'm glad y'all tripped over each other because I did too. How's it going? James.
What's your name? James.
So, one of the things that you have stated is that we have options. Okay? So, just to give you a little bit of my background, I come from a divorced family, and we lived below the poverty level from the time that I was born until now, frankly. So, I'm one of those people that you're talking about that isn't pulling themselves up by their bootstraps enough. Which, like, I didn't have boots to begin with, and, like, I don't know if you've ever had boots, but, like, legs are load-bearing structures.
I relate.
And, like, you can't really pull up a boot when you're wearing it, you know? So, where exactly am I failing when I am working 80 hours a week? I am taking the only jobs that will hire me. I have put in 477 applications over the last 2.5 years. Not even gotten a call back once.
Why do you think?
You tell me. You're a job creator.
But I don't know your resume. You know your life better than I do. Why do you think you have not gotten a call back on 477?
Because
a lot
I
of
do
people
not
get
have a degree.
callbacks. Okay.
Because I do not have a degree.
I
Because I
don't
could
either.
not afford one.
Okay.
I live in an area where the physical job market is very limiting.
Where do you live?
I live in rural Texas.
Okay.
So in that, like in the town that I grew up in, for instance, there are 8 jobs. Period.
Does your family live there? Mom, dad, everybody's in that same city?
Everybody was at one point.
Okay.
Most of them are dead now.
Okay, sorry to hear.
It is what it is. It's poverty. You know, we're kind of used to that on this side.
Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like you're a victim? Why do you feel like the way you speak, like, you know, you're the victim?
Yeah, he sounds like he's about to cry. Like, does he want our sympathy? Like, it's actually kind of sad. Like, dang.
To you.
Because I exist and things happen to
Well, why do
you,
you see
and
yourself
as
as a
such,
victim?
things happen, and that's why I say that they happen
You're
to
a
me.
good-looking guy. Why
Thanks.
do you think you're a victim? Why do you think you're somebody that's gotten into a situation because it's not fair what happened to me? Let me give you a couple options.
Sure.
Are you open to leaving the city you're in?
I've already left it.
Offer him a job.
I've left multiple
Offer him a
cities.
job.
So if somebody else gave you a job in a different place, you'd be
100%.
willing to move there.
100%.
Okay. On your resume. On your resume.
It says that.
What do you have on your resume? Skill set. What do you offer?
Transportation expertise.
He's interviewing him.
logistics Expertise.
I'm guessing PBD is gonna offer him a job. Let's see.
Be yourself a hard worker.
I mean, I feel
You
like
said
80 hours a week.
That's a
something
hard
like that.
worker.
Sure.
How about we do this? How about I interview and I give you a job? Would
Sure.
you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Ooh, man, that's Florida. Sure, why not?
Would you move to Fort Lauderdale?
Sure, why not?
How about you and I document this? After this, you come, I do an interview with you, and I give you a job. And let's see what you do 90 days later.
Okay, and I'll look up your company and all that kind of stuff, and I'll see it. But
you
like,
see what just happened
regardless,
right there? Well,
Mike.
watch what you just did.
Sure.
See, again, like the other one. So he doesn't really need a better job because he's so selective. So of course he's not going to get it because nobody's going to offer somebody who said, oh, yeah, you can hire me, but I want this, and I want these benefits, but I don't want to work, because clearly he's not trying to do that. But it's really cool that PBD came on here and is like using his like businesses to be able to, you know, interview people like live on air. I think it's pretty cool. It's very unique to PBD, and that's really a testament to his character.
Just said you applied to 477 companies who's not gotten back to you.
Yeah.
A business owner who's hiring aggressively just made an offer to you. You said you're willing to move. Then you said, I'll look at it. You became selective.
I didn't
You
say I look at it
contradicted
if you'd let
yourself.
me finish my sentence.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
I would like to look into your company to
Yeah.
see exactly what you guys do.
You would like to.
Because I don't know what you guys do.
Okay.
So as far as I'm concerned, I may be wasting my time going. If you guys are a finance company, if you guys are a bank or something like that, I don't have the certifications. I don't have the degrees. So even interviewing me would be
what
a
if
moot
I
point.
gave you a job?
Yeah, exactly. So does he want like the top position? No, PBD could be saying, hey, maybe we need you to be like an intern, a PA. It'd be a job, right? Doesn't he want a job, like, period?
Period. To work 80 hours a week. Would you take it? And I paid you a reasonable wage.
Are we talking a livable wage or a reasonable wage?
What do
And
you make
whose
right
version
now?
of reasonable are we
What do you
talking
make
about?
right
Your
now?
version of reasonable or my version of
But you see,
reasonable?
so now for me, what I'm noticing from you is
I need specifics?
no, not necessarily. No, most of the people I hire need specifics. The difference is I'm trying to hire them. In this instance, you're trying to get a job and you're being selective. It's going to work against
I mean,
you.
I'm not trying to get a job. Originally, I was
My
trying to
offer's
ask you
off
where the
table.
moral felt.
My offer's off the table
Okay, that's
because
fine.
you're going to be difficult to work with.
Okay, sure. But my question was, where is my moral failing? Like, where is it that you are saying that I am not working hard enough and I am not doing
I just
enough?
experienced it right now because the way you just handled this situation.
Got it. So
here
I
was,
should accept anything that
Yeah. Suddenly I know why he's not getting called back, and certainly I know why, if he's ever been invited to a job interview, why he did not get it, because this attitude is toxic, and he's not trying to sell himself for the company. He's not saying, this is what I provide, this is what I can give to the company, this is what a net benefit that I would bring. All he's been talking about is, I want this, I want this, I want this. If you are this, I don't want you. I want this, I want this, I want this. And I want this certain amount of money, and I don't want your definition of livable income. I want what I want. I want to set my own standards, but I don't want to actually like put in the work for it.
gives me
Not
at
at
first
all.
blush
No.
if it is a guaranteed thing.
No, not necessarily.
I agreed
but-
to I agreed to do your interview. I agreed to be interviewed by you,
Yeah,
and you
but-
agreed to consider me for hiring.
Yeah.
So therefore, I am taking that opportunity. I've chosen to. But because I am asking you for specifics, your immediate reaction is that, oh, well, you're trying to be picky. When I'm not. I'm asking you.
specifics. You could have simply
I said I need to look up your company. That's all I
you could have
said.
said is, I'm willing to have the interview.
And I
You
did.
would have had the interview.
And I did.
No, you said it depends.
I said,
don't
yeah,
know,
sure.
Let me look.
Yeah, sure. I would look
Vote
into
him
your
out, vote him
company.
out, vote him
I
out.
appreciate you.
Hi,
What's your
I'm
name?
Faye.
Faye?
Yeah,
Good to
nice
meet
to
you.
meet you. So how would you define socialism? Because I think you're kind of misunderstanding what anti-capitalist ideals look like. I think
I mean, everyone here that was anti-capitalist at some point brought up socialism and was like a huge pro-socialism activist. So, yeah, I think it's pretty reasonable for PBD to relate anti-capitalism with socialism because these people proved him right.
trying to advocate for basic rights for our people in this country and across the world, of course. But I don't think it's necessarily about equal wealth disparity around the world for most people that are anti-capitalist. I think it's more about just standard rights that are provided by the government.
Standard rights that are provided by the government.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So
Go a little bit deeper. So for you, when the claim here is, if the money in the world were divided equally,
Yeah, so
it will
I
return
think-
to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you disagree?
yes.
Tell me why you disagree.
Yeah, so I disagree because I don't even think many people are trying to argue for that.
People are not trying
So
to
like
argue
who are
for
you
that.
arguing in this
Yeah,
debate.
what I'm trying
There's
to say.
like a very select amount of people that are trying to argue for equal wealth disparity.
Yeah.
Most people are at least trying to at least advocate for wealth and at all for people that don't have access to healthcare right now, that don't have access to a good education right now, that don't have access to their basic needs like food.
Do you think our system right now allows people to stay in those situations long term?
They force them to stay in those situations long term.
Okay, so part of me actually agrees with you, but why do you think they force them to stay in those situations long term?
I think because they are trying to convince the working class that they don't have rights.
I actually don't think that's what it is, although that's fair. It's your point here. What's the chances that any of you here voted for Donald Trump in 2024? Exactly, right? What is the chances that all of you here can't stand the phrase MAGA, Donald Trump, any of that stuff? Is that a fair assessment? Fair, okay.
Yeah, so it's your
So
point.
think about it this way. So maybe you're right that the Democratic Party that's been earning your vote for a long time wants to keep you there because they'll
They
have
have
your
never
vote for the
earned
rest
my
of your
vote.
life.
They have never earned my
Who
vote.
did you vote for in 2024?
In 24, I voted for the socialist candidate,
Who was that?
Claudia de la Cruz, I believe.
Who did you vote for in 2020?
I was actually not able to vote. I was in a hospital.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes,
Sorry to
because
hear.
of results of capitalism.
Tell me more.
Yeah, so I didn't have access to proper health care or even access to a proper job that would sustain me as a disabled person.
Are you comfortable being specific on what happened?
I
You don't
guess
have to
so.
if you're not
I mean,
comfortable
I'm
with it.
also mentally ill, so that was something I had to deal with. But I'm mainly
Oh no,
mentally
I wouldn't have guessed.
because I am disabled in a capitalist country.
Tell me more about mentally ill. Who qualified you as somebody that's mentally ill?
Me and my doctor team.
Who convinced you that you're mentally ill?
Me and my doctor team.
What's the specific category of mental illness? Is there one? You know why I asked this question? Let me explain why I asked this
So
question.
I don't even like the psychological industry. I don't really stand for like Sigmund Freudian politics or
Sure.
anything like that. So if we're
Yeah,
going
I
to
asked-
debate the
I'm
ethics
not.
of psychology.
I'm not. Where I'm going with this is going back to the same thing. With if the money were to divide it equally, it
Yeah.
ended up being worth out within 5 years. My trouble is, in many cases, somebody you and I look up to will say something to us that we choose to believe for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, it could be something where you have ADHD, you're mentally ill, you're poor, you're this, you're
But
that,
why-
and we get to choose to buy into that or not. And if you do,
So you're saying I'm not mentally ill or I'm not
saying
disabled?
you are or you're not. I would challenge you to go a little bit deeper to see if there's anything you can do about it.
So you're asking me about my health. You're asking me about my disability
I'm
and
not.
my.
I will say we are in a market where, stay with me here, there is a market where there's profit to convince you that you have issues to take the medication because they're making money.
Yeah, but I
and
don't
I'm
have
not
access to
supportive
the
of that.
medication. I don't have access to even a result or a solution to my disability as someone with a connective tissue disorder. It's genetic.
Have you been able to go to different doctors and get yourself tested? And
Yeah.
See? You have?
Yes.
And in California?
Yes, but not
And who-
enough.
who
I
paid
can't
for it?
find a specialist.
You can't
I
find a
can't
specialist.
find a specialist
Is
for
there
who
anyone
I
in your
am.
life that's
I
willing to
can't
pay
find
for a
anyone.
specialist?
Well, they could they would if they had money,
Anybody
but
you-
they, yeah,
Would you be okay if I pay for a specialist for you to go see?
yeah.
Would you take money from a cat?
Wow. PBD, like I watch his show, but I don't watch it all the time, but I do watch clips and segments here and there, and he's always come off to me as very genuine. But in this episode, I am becoming a huge fan because one, he's been offering people that apparently have been looking for jobs for so long, jobs on the spot, interview them on the spot. This woman, he's seeing potential in her and is looking to help her and even pay for, a need that she might, any testing that she needs. That really is incredible, and it really shows, and it makes sense why and how Patrick Bet-David was able to become as successful as he has become, because wow, I'm really being mind blown. And you can't fake this kind of stuff. You can't. This is genuine, real. You can't act it better than that. That's incredible. And watch her say no. I'm just kidding.
Help you go see specialists?
I mean, yeah, sure, why
I'm
not?
gonna have you go see two. Do you live in California?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you go see two specialists. But would you also be open to seeing somebody else I choose as a psychologist that may.
No.
You're not.
No.
So do you
You
simply-
choose as a psychologist.
I
You're
would-
choosing who gets to determine
No,
what my
what
mental
I-
health looks
what I-
like.
what I-
No.
Okay, then I.
So you're saying that she's saying that she chooses a psychologist, knowing very well that what they're gonna tell her. So she chooses the results, and so she's basically feeding into whatever she believes is already the case. So she's not open to getting a different perspective, which is very dangerous, because if you believe something and you go to somebody who you know is going to tell you the exact same thing and reinforce what you believe already, you're not looking for a solution. You're just looking to get whatever you believe reinforced. Then you're just wasting your money, and she wants to waste PBD's money. No wonder she doesn't have money.
About the best.
Yeah, so I think. All right, thanks for
Thank
talking.
you so much. Yes, anytime.
How you doing, man?
What's your name?
Seth.
Seth, good to meet you.
I think your claim kind of doesn't make any sense because it would not inherently be a capitalist society you're describing. Because I'm surprised nobody's.
Well, yeah, because you're taking it so literally. He literally said that was a hypothetical, and now he's saying it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, of course, because it's literally a hypothetical. That's what it is.
Address this issue. We haven't even defined what socialism is. Capitalism is a system in which all businesses are funded by millionaires and billionaires, investor classes. If this society, everybody had the same amount of money, I don't really know how the money would be generated up and down. I don't know in this theoretical. It sounds more like an anarchist society, which would make more sense to me.
We're using this as a hypothetical.
Yes,
but I want to make sure I qualify
My
that
point
we're not.
being, we
Yeah.
even describe what capitalism is.
But stay on this point here because you came here. Let me go back to this one. If all the money in the world divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. Do you
Sure.
agree or disagree?
Well, I disagree
Tell me
because
why you
I
disagree.
believe in a system more akin to that kind of system. I think that a system with people with more wealth and
But do
equality.
you know why the wealth would go back to the same people and the same people
I
at
know
the
why
bottom
it
would be
wouldn't.
poor? Why do you think it would?
Well, it wouldn't go back to the same thing. Our places because I don't think that we have an inherent equal starting point in the beginning.
But this is a starting point. What
No,
I'm
I
saying to
understand.
you is if we
That's what I'm
right now
saying
did
why
a
it
case
wouldn't go to
study,
the same places because we've never even tested some sort of free market. We've never seen any sort of system akin to that. A genuine free market, not one that's distorted by capitalists, by business owners. Capitalists generally protect their own class. That's why people rise to the top. Yes,
I don't know about
absolutely.
that. I actually think it's a
Absolutely.
very
They protect
competitive
their own-
place to be.
No, there's not. Not at all. People start at the very
but
bottom. They have no shot to even.
Do you know why I make the claim of if all the money in the world were divided equally would return to the same pockets within 5
I'm
years?
assuming that you think that because people work harder or something like that. But
It's-
I would
it's-
argue the
it's-
people that work the hardest are the people that make the least amount of money. The people that work the least, live on their yachts, are the ones that are owning all this company. Never been inside the businesses that they own.
I don't know if I agree with that. I was just
Not
in
everybody,
Arkansas 3 days
but
ago.
the richest
I
people.
was just in Arkansas a week ago, and I went to a city called Hot Springs, Arkansas. It was two friends from high school started a windows company, 250 employees.
Yeah.
The city loves them. They work their tails off.
I'm not really
They're
referring to small
Well,
businesses.
but I'm talking
Sure.
about, but many big businesses started small. Walmart
Yeah,
was
sure.
a big day one. Walmart was small when it
Why are
first
they
got
still?
started.
Why are they still a monopoly? Because they exist off.
They're
of
not a monopoly.
Okay,
Amazon
not
is taking a
monopoly.
big share
They
away
own
from
an
them.
oligopoly, whatever. They own a large market
Do
share
you
because
think-
their ability to use their money
Do
to
you know how
lobby.
many jobs they've created around the world? Walmart has.
I'm not even referring
There's
to
3 million
Walmart.
jobs
The
worldwide.
point being is
Exactly, and every time a Walmart opens, it provides dozens and maybe hundreds of jobs for that town in which it opens, and it also provides people, a lot of supplies for people that need. You can get like school supplies, you can get food. It benefits everyone in the town. Sure, the supermarket, that's like run by mom and dad might be a little bit harder. You might be hit hard by it, but that is in contrast to the 300 people that Walmart hires. So how are you gonna debate that?
capitalists distort the market so it's unfree. How could it be a free market
Okay,
if
so-
everybody in the market inherently wants to make it unfree because they want
So
to rise to the top?
I'm watching
If
you.
everybody has the incentive to maintain a free market, then that's something that
So let me go back. The reason why I said if all the money in the world were divided equally, it would return to the same pockets within 5 years. To me, it's because of market value, what value you bring to the place, your contacts, your relationship, how hard you're working, all of those combined. Habits
those
that you have in
things, for
place,
sure.
habits that you have in place, and also habits at the bottom. The habits at the bottom are not long-term thinking, it's short-term. When I didn't have any money and I was broke $49,000, if I had $500 to my name, We're driving on the freeway to go to Vegas to party for the weekend and come back. If I had a penny to my name, I'm having a blast. Until 25 years old, I changed my habits financially. Then things changed. But this point here that we're talking about with the
some
wall.
people are so far off.
That was some really good advice from PBD. I have to point that out. That was really good advice.
At that point, they're so far in debt that small decisions would not alter.
It's not true.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not true.
You're just privileged and you've lived in a certain
You think
example.
I'm privileged? I'm
Yes,
privileged.
Patrick Bet-David is the privileged one, really? This white man, who's most likely born in America, is telling Patrick Bet-David, who is not a white man, who immigrated to America when he was 11 from Iran, is the privileged one because he actually worked hard and did something with his life. This mentality is so bad for you.
My
become a millionaire
worked,
because of their hard work. That's amazing. That's
my
the only
mom
person.
ran out of money and went back to Iran. You're talking to a guy that would have done 20 years in the army. If one guy
The army
doesn't
is
call
not-
me, if one guy would
The
have
army
called
is the
me
government funding you.
I understand that,
Yeah,
and I joined
you
the army
benefit
because I
from the
had
government,
given up on
from
life.
social programs.
No,
Absolutely.
I was not confident on what I could do, but I changed. So can you. Look at the way
absolutely.
you're speaking to me.
You can
Do you know
change, you can
somebody
work
like,
hard, but
do you
you're
know
not-
somebody like you? Do you know somebody like you that speaks this eloquently? If somebody gets a hold of you in real estate, insurance, finance, you can learn how to sell, and you can make some real good money. Somebody
But
like you that I'm
not
watching.
everybody's born
I
with those
think
abilities. You
I-
have to be
brother,
like
I
somebody
think-
who's white, tall, 6'4", whatever. They're
I'm
much more.
Middle Eastern. I'm from Iran. Do you
But think
realize a
about
lot of
somebody
stuff
who's
that
not-
This guy is the ultimate victim. Oh my gosh. Dang. He had to bring out the race card. He had to bring out the height card and whatever the third one was. And he's staring at Patrick Bet-David, who's probably none of those. Oh, these guys. Oh my gosh. Some people can't be saved. All right, final claim.
The U.S. is more socialist than capitalist today. If you hate the system, you're anti-socialist.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Okay, so let's talk about where we're at. I believe you said reasonable wage and minimum wage. What about a livable wage? And we haven't really talked about livable wages because they
What do
kind
you
of
think about
differ.
minimum wage? So what do you think
So
minimum
I
wage
think
should
we have
be?
a long way to go. I'm not really a big fan of these little increment things, especially when it's not like rent is stopping and leveling out. It's like it's far exceeding what most
I
people
don't
can
disagree, for
make.
sure. Yep.
And so I'm just wondering how you still can sit here and say that when I know you like to talk about you came up from Haagen-Dazs and all this other stuff.
In Glendale Galleria, 20 minutes away
great.
from here.
Love that for you.
Why is she brushing that off? Patrick Bet-David probably came from more of a humble beginning than all of these people in this room. And they're telling him that his story, his upbringing is unimportant to his story. That just his success, his latter years is what's important. When no, I think the most important part is where he came from and how he was able to build his empire. Because you can actually learn from that. You don't learn from all these people around this room who came from, good beginnings, I'm assuming, and made nothing out of themselves. And all they do is go on YouTube and complain. You tell me which is a better story.
We're talking about where you are today and where I am a majority of these people in the room.
Sure.
And I
And I
haven't
believe
really
you can
heard.
change.
Yes, we can
Yeah.
change, but I think that there's certain systems
Are you
in
talking
place.
minimum wage? You want to address the
We
minimum
can
wage
talk
topic?
minimum wage, but I like to say livable wage
Okay.
because I think they're
What do
two
you
very
think it
different
should be?
things.
What do you think it should be?
I think that we should go per state because every state is different in
Give me
terms
a
of what
number.
they can
Where do
have.
you live? You live in
I
California?
live in California,
What do you think it
so
should be?
based on
Minimum
the
wage.
MIT living wage calculator, it's an actual livable wage calculator. It's $27.81 should be the starting, and then if you have kids and so forth, then you can go up from there.
Okay.
But starting at about $27
So,
hourly.
let's look at case studies of what happened.
So that would literally incentivize people to just pop out like 5 kids. Same thing as the welfare program. Oh my gosh. These people, these aren't solutions. Oh my gosh.
California chose to increase the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 an hour, restaurant workers. Do you know what happened in the state of California? Mass exodus. People left and went different places. You know what restaurant owners did? Like, I can't compete with these guys if you raise the minimum wage. But the challenge with minimum wage is also the following. So say there's two companies. You have Walmart, okay, in Bakersfield, pick a city, and you have a different supermarket that's been in the same family for 60 years. The governor here says we're going to raise the minimum wage to $20 an hour.
Yes, the mom and pop shops can't afford to do that. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to go out of business. But I thought they cared about those people. They don't. Like, they're so blinded by wanting to, like, beat down these billionaires that own Walmart that they forget that these rules that they want to implement are also going to affect the people that created family businesses. And that's going to destroy them. But they seem to not care. It's so contradictory.
The market that's been within a family, the small business, who do you think Walmart? Who do you think can afford to go to $20 an hour minimum wage?
Only Walmart.
That's where I think we have to factor in other systems
other
than capitalism.
But
I think you're kind of making the point that's been made a few times today where we can't just look at one thing.
No, this hasn't been made. The point I'm making here is any time a Bernie Sanders gets up and says, let's raise the minimum wage for $15, and he was caught in his campaign not paying his own workers $15, $13 an hour, and he had to talk about it and apologize that even a guy that's a socialist wasn't paying minimum wage. But if you raise it to $15, Amazon sells it.
I didn't know that. I'm going to have to look that up because that's pretty funny. It's like, why don't you practice what you preach, Bernie?
Walmart celebrates. Do you know why? Because the employers from this supermarket that have been working for this family for the longest time, they can't afford to pay that. So they leave and go to Amazon and Walmart. What happens? The bigger companies keep getting bigger. The small businesses go out of business because of minimum wage.
Okay, so you mentioned Bernie Sanders. I didn't mention him. Cool for Bernie Sanders. Whatever. Do you pay a livable wage or a minimum wage for your employees?
There's not a single soul in our company that I pay $15 an hour or $20 an hour.
Okay, so are you paying them livable wages though?
Absolutely.
Okay,
of course
based on your standards
because
or based
of my
on
choice.
like the stats?
Because of my choice.
So you're determining what people's livable wages are?
No, I look at the marketplace and I see what's going on and I get to pick and choose what person.
Yeah, ask her, Miss Omelet Head. Ask her, PBD, ask her what's her livable minimum wage. And watch her say like $45. Like, Jesus. These people are so privileged and they act like they're a spokesperson for the people that are actually in poverty. When these people who are actually in poverty would accept a job out of an eye, would not have 10,000 requirements, and would not be like, are you going to give me a livable wage? Are you going to give me a livable wage? No, they're going to be fine with like $20 an hour because that's actually very good for them because they actually need it. They're not like them who say that they're super, super, underprivileged, but at the sight of, opportunities, they turn the other cheek.
Do I want to hire bottom 10%, 25%, 50%? I'll pay a little bit more because I want to get somebody that's got a little bit more experience.
Okay.
Tanya?
That was a very interesting conversation from all of them, but especially the last one. There's a lot of points being made and a lot of topics being brought up where I was like, oh, maybe he can bring up a good point, but sometimes he didn't. But Patrick Bet-David really impressed me in this debate. Of course, if you're interested in seeing other Jubilee debates that I reacted to Candace Owens, as well as I reacted to the Amanda Seales debate. But Patrick Bet-David, I have to say, is probably my favorite because these, unlike other Jubilee debates, weren't very explosive because Patrick Bet-David never let it get there. He made sure, he was kind of like a dad. He was saying like, in like with his hand gestures and the way he raised his voice at certain moments, being like, hey, don't yell at me, let me finish. And he was very commanding, and maybe that's why, because he's like a guy but he was very commanding. And I have to say, in this debate, none of the anti-capitalists were able to put up a good fight because Patrick Bet-David knows his stuff and he's very grounded and he's not trying to show off his knowledge. He's literally trying to speak to them, and not just to them, but also to us, the audience that are watching and reacting and learning a lot from these videos. It almost felt like a TED Talk or like a inspirational video from PBD's part, because he really tried to reach to us and even to them by offering jobs and offering to pay for their expenses, and they were like literally rejecting him to his face, and then 5 seconds later complaining that nobody helps me, I want the government to help me. And that just shows a lot of the character of the anti-capitalists as well as PBD's very humble and very inspiring character. And so let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you thought of this video, anything that you learned of this video, what you thought of my reaction to the video, and leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.